This story reveals a deep secret hidden by the Galactic Council. Human DNA is locked away under the highest security, not just for protection, but because humanity's genetics hold incredible power. As the new Council president explores the secret vault, he discovers why human DNA is considered both a weapon and a last resort weapon of war for the galaxy. The story is tense and emotional, filled with mystery, political tension, and the heavy burden of leadership. The stakes are enormous. Failure could awaken forces that change the galaxy forever. The endless corridor swallowed their footsteps. President Severo's blue-green tentacles cast pools of light on the dark metal walls as he followed the old president, Guaro. The air felt heavy with silence and something unspoken. Guards lined the walls, silent and motionless, their faces hidden behind dark visors that seemed to watch his every move. Severo's heart thumped louder than the sound of their footsteps, tap tap scrape, against the floor. The deeper they went underground, the darker it became. Emergency strips glowed faintly beneath their feet, barely enough to guide them forward. Severo's glowing tentacles became the only real light, flickering with nervous energy. In contrast, Guaro's once vibrant tentacles hung dull and dim, like stars fading into nothingness. Severo's mind struggled to keep up, wondering what waited at the end of this tunnel, what secret demanded such extreme security. Guaro broke the silence with a dry, grinding laugh. "You're trying too hard, young one," he said, his voice rough with age. "The council needs fresh light. You're that light now." Severo nodded, swallowing his fear. He had been chosen to lead the Galactic Council through turbulent times. But nothing in his training prepared him for this moment, this descent into darkness, into a secret so heavy it threatened to crush him. At last, they reached a massive door. It was like nothing Severo had ever seen. 20 meters wide, built of layers of metal and energy shields, glowing faintly with power. Guaro moved to a console, his old tentacles spreading across input panels as he began the unlocking sequence. First came the biometric scans, DNA, consciousness probes, mental integrity checks. The machine was merciless, stripping away every secret Severo hoped to keep hidden. Then, with a low hiss and grinding metal, the door began to open slowly, revealing a cold chamber bathed in blue light. Inside, thousands of glass containers stood in neat rows. Each held a tiny vial frozen in ice, glowing faintly in the cold. The air was sharp and biting, filled with the scent of antiseptic and frost. Severo stepped forward, awed by the sheer number of samples. His tentacles flickered nervously, illuminating labels with strange codes and warning symbols. Guaro's voice echoed softly. "Human blood, Severo. The most dangerous secret in the galaxy." Severo stopped, stunned. Human blood? Why? What could human DNA be worth locking away like this? Guaro's eyes, dull but sharp, met Severo's. Because humanity is not like the others. They shed their DNA everywhere, careless. But inside that red fluid lies the most perfect warrior template ever known. Strength, strategy, healing, and an instinct that can be shaped into unbreakable loyalty. Severo's mind raced. So this is why the Council fears it? Because humans are too powerful? Guaro nodded slowly. Exactly. Many species tried to use human DNA to create armies, soldiers, leaders, spies. Some succeeded, some failed. But humanity's genetic fire cannot be tamed easily. Rebellions, betrayals, disappearances, Severo's tentacles dimmed in thought. Then why keep it? Why not destroy it all? Because, Guaro said grimly, this secret is our ultimate safeguard. If the galaxy falls to ruin, if all else fails, this is the last card we hold. Human DNA can create armies, leaders, even presidents that no one else can match. Severo's breath caught in his throat. The cold silence of the vault pressed in around him, carrying the weight of countless lives, and countless dangers. Guaro turned toward a hidden panel, his movements slow but deliberate. "There's more you must see. Follow me." Savaro felt the chill grow deeper as they moved toward a smaller chamber, hidden behind another secret door. Inside, 3 large tanks stood tall, filled with swirling green fluid. Inside each, a figure floated in perfect stillness. One was human, peaceful, vulnerable, and yet somehow terrifying in its stillness. Another was covered in purple fur, sharp claws curled at its fingers. The third was ethereal, delicate, almost otherworldly. Guaro's voice dropped to a whisper. Volunteers. If you fall, one of these will awaken to take your place. A president made in humanity's image, to save the galaxy when all hope fades. Savaro's tentacles flared in shock, his mind spiraling. This secret was more than power, it was a promise and a curse. The fate of the galaxy now rested on his shoulders. Savaro's mind reeled as he stared into the glowing tanks. The human, the purple-furred hybrid, and the ethereal figure, they weren't just prisoners of this vault. They were the Council's secret weapon, the hidden kings and queens waiting in the shadows to rise when chaos consumed the galaxy. How can you be sure they'll succeed? Savaro asked, voice barely a whisper. What if they fail like the others before them? Guaro's dim tentacles twitched with a faint glow. These 3 are unlike any replicated humans before. They volunteered for this, offered themselves willingly for a duty beyond most could bear. Their minds were trained, their loyalty forged not by force, but by choice. They carry the weight of humanity's best and darkest traits. They are the last hope. Savaro looked back to the rows of vials, thousands of frozen human DNA samples from every era and every corner of the galaxy. The memory of countless wars, betrayals, and revolts echoed in his mind. How many lives had been shaped by the power locked inside these glass prisons? The old president led him down a narrow path between the rows. Let me tell you the truth behind why humanity's genetics became the ultimate weapon. Guaro paused, searching Savaro's eyes. When humans first joined the Galactic Council, they were young and untested. But their genetics were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. They healed faster, fought harder, and thought quicker than almost any other species. But that strength came at a cost, Guaro said. Human DNA was copied, weaponized by every species with replication tech. Armies of cloned humans marched across moons and planets, loyal only until they weren't. Savaro's tentacles dimmed with worry. Why did humanity allow this? Why didn't they stop it? They tried, Guaro replied. They protested in council chambers, threatened to withdraw. But they were small then, confined mostly to their home system. No one listened. So humanity fought back differently. Guaro's voice lowered. They infiltrated replication facilities and changed the programming. Every replicated human was given an urge to return home. Slowly, entire armies abandoned their posts, slipping away to Earth or other human colonies. Savaro's breath hitched. That must have been chaos. Catastrophe, Guaro admitted. Some species refused to comply, claiming rights over what they owned. The Council fought brutal wars to enforce humanity's demands. They won, but the scars remain. Savaro's glowing tentacles flashed with anxiety. So the vault is a safeguard, a reminder of that war? Guaro nodded slowly. A safeguard, yes. But also a warning. These vials are not just DNA, they are a promise. Should the galaxy face a threat beyond diplomacy or technology, the Council can activate these reserves. A human president can rise, with full authority to wield the power of the genome. Savaro's mind raced. You mean, if I die, one of those 3 takes over? Guaro's eyes glinted faintly. Yes. They will awaken, instantly imprinted with all Council knowledge. More informed than any living being. Depending on the crisis, the right one will lead. Savaro's tentacles flickered with a mix of fear and awe. And humanity agrees to this? Reluctantly, Guaro said. Their treaty forbids unauthorized replication. But by making a human the legitimate president, it becomes legal. A loophole, yes. But a necessary one. The old president led Sevaro to a console displaying recent activity logs. Only 3 non-human species may maintain human populations now, the Meloi, the Kess, and the Throaty. Each with unique bonds to humanity and protected under galactic law. Sevaro absorbed the weight of these words. So we keep the peace, so the last card isn't played? Guaro's tentacles glowed faintly. Exactly. Your leadership must keep the galaxy from tipping into chaos. Because once the threshold is crossed, and one of these awakens, the galaxy changes forever. Suddenly, a distant alarm echoed through the vault. Red lights pulsed as security systems roared to life. Sevaro's heart slammed against his ribs. What is this? He demanded. Guaro's expression darkened. A test. A reminder that the Council's secrets are never safe. The pair raced through the vault's twisting corridors, guards scrambling to secure the DNA samples. Sevaro's tentacles glowed brightly, cutting through the darkness as he felt the crushing weight of responsibility settle deeper within him. The vault sealed once again, silence returning like a heavy cloak. Sevaro took a deep breath, the echo of the alarm still ringing in his mind. The secret of human DNA was not just locked away physically, it was buried beneath layers of duty, sacrifice, and the hope that the ultimate weapon would never be needed. But the galaxy was fragile. And the shadows of war loomed closer than anyone dared admit. The heavy silence in Sevaro's private quarters was broken only by the soft hum of the cooling system. His glowing tentacles traced the edges of his desk, casting eerie patterns across the walls. The knowledge he had gained beneath the vault haunted every corner of his mind. 3 figures in suspended animation, potential leaders forged from human genetics, waiting for a call to action no one wished to hear. Sevaro closed his eyes, trying to find peace. But peace was a stranger in the Galactic Council these days. Rumors of rebellion simmered in the outer sectors. The fragile alliances he'd inherited felt like glass, ready to shatter with the slightest pressure. His thoughts were interrupted by a soft knock. Advisor Nira stepped inside, her calm presence grounding him. You look tired, President. Sevaro nodded, his tentacles dimming. I've seen things today that change everything. Nira stepped closer, her eyes steady. The vault? He exhaled slowly. Yes. Human DNA, locked away like the greatest weapon in the galaxy. 3 volunteers, sleeping presidents, waiting to be called. It's a burden heavier than I imagined. Nira's voice was firm. It's not just your burden. The Council shares it. But only you hold the key. Sevaro looked up, eyes brightening slightly. That's what terrifies me. If I fail, if the galaxy descends into chaos, those tanks will open. And everything changes. The humans will rise again, not just as soldiers, but as rulers with power beyond measure. Nira nodded. That power must never be unleashed lightly. But it also means hope, if we choose to see it. Sevaro leaned back, the weight of leadership pressing hard. Hope feels fragile right now. Later, in the council chambers, tensions were rising. Delegates from dozens of species argued loudly about trade disputes, territorial claims, and the mounting threat of the Dravian rebels. Sevaro sat at the head of the table, his mind distant. He glanced at the holomap flickering in front of him. Systems on the edge of rebellion glowed red. A war could erupt at any moment. Suddenly, the doors hissed open. A messenger rushed in, breathless. President Sevaro, urgent report. The Visai have launched a surprise attack on the Ramiki colonies. A hush fell over the room. The Visai, long banned from replicating human DNA, had broken the treaty. Their forces were advancing fast, ruthless and well-equipped. Sevaro's tentacles flared with alarm. Prepare the defense protocols. Send envoys to the Meloi and Kess. They must stand with us. The room erupted into chaos. Allies debated strategy. Some called for immediate retaliation, others urged diplomacy. Savarro raised a hand. Enough. We will respond, but carefully. The balance is fragile. We cannot afford to start a galaxy-wide war. As the meeting adjourned, Savarro retreated to his chambers. The reality was clear, the secret he guarded was no longer just a last resort. The pressure to act mounted daily. That night, his thoughts returned to the three sleeping figures in the vault. Were they truly the salvation the Council hoped for? Or a dangerous gamble that could consume everything? Savarro realized his leadership would be tested like never before. He must navigate politics, war, and the shadow of human power locked beneath the surface. The fate of the galaxy depended on him, and on the fragile peace that hung by a thread. The council chambers buzzed with anxious whispers as news from the Ramiki colonies worsened. HFY warships cut through space, striking with brutal precision. Diplomatic channels crackled with tension, but no solution seemed near. President Savarro stood alone in his office, the vast viewport displaying stars streaking by. The weight of his secret gnawed at him. Every decision now bore the possibility of igniting the final protocol, the awakening of the sleepers. A sudden chime interrupted his thoughts. The secure council comms. Guaro's aged voice came through, heavy and grave. Savarro, the situation deteriorates faster than we anticipated. The HFY refused to back down. Savarro's tentacles flickered nervously. Are we close to activating the reserve? Guaro hesitated. Not yet. But the council may soon face no other choice. Remember, once awakened, the human president will command full authority, over every species. Savarro swallowed hard. That power frightens me. It should, Guaro replied. But it also saves us. That night, Savarro found himself wandering the halls of the vault. His glowing tentacles cast long shadows among the rows of frozen DNA. His heart ached as he passed the three tanks, silent, still, waiting. He paused before the human figure. Memories of ancient battles, lost allies, and desperate hopes flooded his mind. Suddenly, a voice echoed inside his head, a direct neural link activating without warning. President Savarro, it said. Calm. Clear. Human. Savarro staggered back, eyes wide. The voice continued, I am awake. What is the emergency? His tentacles flared with shock and disbelief. You are awake. How? Protocol triggered by your distress signals, the voice replied. I am the human volunteer assigned to step in if you fall or fail. My mind is linked to the Council's knowledge databases. I am ready to serve. Savarro's breath caught. Are the others awake? No. Only I have been activated. The crisis requires immediate leadership. Savarro fought rising panic. What will you do? The voice was steady, unyielding. Protect the galaxy. Use all means necessary. The president's mind spun. He faced a choice no leader wanted, to trust the power sealed away for centuries or risk total collapse. Before dawn, Savarro convened the council. He revealed the activation of the human president, explaining the risks and hopes. Some delegates trembled with fear. Others whispered of doom. But all understood the gravity. The new human president addressed them through the comms link, his voice strong, determined, unbreakable. We stand at the edge of destruction. But together, we can fight back. I will lead with the fierce spirit of humanity and the wisdom of the council. As warships mobilized and strategies unfolded, Savarro knew the true test was only beginning. The secret weapon was awake, and the galaxy held its breath. War raged across the stars. The HFY fleet tore through colonies, but under the leadership of the awakened human president, the tide began to turn. His strategies were bold, unpredictable, true to the fierce legacy of his species. Savaro watched the battles unfold, both in council chambers and through the shipboard holofeeds. His tentacles glowed steadily, a silent prayer for peace amid the chaos. The human president coordinated with Meloy and Kess allies, uniting disparate forces with a clarity and passion none had seen before. Yet beneath the victories lay a haunting question: what price would the galaxy pay for this power? The human's aggressive instinct, once a strength, sometimes threatened to spiral beyond control. Savaro knew the burden he bore: to keep the awakened leader grounded, to prevent humanity's weapon from becoming a scourge. Late one evening, as the war's smoke clouded the galaxy, Savaro received a private message from the human president. It was simple, but carried weight beyond words: I carry humanity's hope, and its curse. I will not fail. Savaro's tentacles flickered softly. He understood now that the secret in the vault was more than a weapon or a threat; it was a mirror, reflecting both the best and worst of humanity, and the fragile hope for a peaceful future. As the final battles ended and the Visai were forced into retreat, the Galactic Council began rebuilding. New treaties formed. Old wounds slowly healed. The human president returned to the vault, preparing to enter suspended stasis once more, his duty fulfilled, for now. Savaro stood beside him, the weight of history between them. Thank you, the human said quietly, for trusting me with your galaxy. Savaro smiled, his tentacles glowing warmly. Thank you for reminding us all what it means to fight for survival, and for hope. The vault doors sealed once again, the silence returning. But now, it was filled with promise. A promise that even in the darkest moments, the galaxy could find its light.